Sul Seers, and welcome to the stream. This is SeeJamieSim, and I am Jamie, and today we are going to be doing LilSimsie's Mouse Tiny Shell Challenge. I'm already getting started here, so it's going to be a speed build. I had decided that I was going to do a Japanese greenhouse. So we are just getting started here. I have to make a walkway so that the Sims can reach the back. But I'm also planning on putting a bridge also, but non-functional. So we're going to have a bridge and a path, and you'll see. So this is the mouse tiny shell challenge. I don't know why I want to say mouse tiny house, tiny shell challenge. So this is going to be on LilSimsie's channel to view on the 27th. So the same day this is coming out. So you might be able to catch it on Twitch. But this is my rendition of their 64 tile house. This is in Mount Kimurabi, and I am just kind of trying to find debug items right now as we are looking through here. So you'll see I have about 1,000, and I keep going back to Snowy Escape. And there is a jump here, and that is because I didn't realize I wasn't recording when I had to take a quick break. And I was inspired by another channel, and I wish I knew that channel's name. Let me look it up really quick while you are watching me add about 1,000 windows. Fangorn Bonsai, their channel. I was inspired by their Japanese style greenhouse to build this. They don't look exactly alike, mostly because they have some additions to their greenhouse that they built that I couldn't exactly match. However, this is my rendition of it, I guess you could say. I am adding the glass up at the top. I wanted it to be kind of super zen. You know, I just wanted this to be like a really calming area. It is a park, so if you guys decide to upload this into your games, you will see that it is just a park. It has all of the accoutrements to go with that. And I add so many windows to this build. It's gonna take some time. And actually, I have to say, for tiny houses, the roofing was surprisingly easy. I usually struggle with how I want things to be roofed on a tiny house kind of like this, but since I was building a greenhouse, I knew I wanted a lot of, plants, of course. Or not greenhouse. Well, this is the greenhouse, but a green space. So I knew I wanted a lot of green things. So I have some half walls there at the top, just because there was no way to do a really great roof one way and the other, just because of the nature of the beast for this tiny house, which I think was LilSimsie's idea. They actually built a tiny home for a werewolf, which reminds me that I never, ever, ever play with werewolves. And I think for my next Let's Play, I'm going to add in some werewolves. I played with werewolves once, and I genuinely enjoyed it. I know a lot of people really hate the werewolves, but I enjoyed it. So maybe I should add that in. I am going to be playing the Ultimate Decades Challenge, which I know I've been promising and keep putting off because I just don't feel like the world is ready, but I am like desperate to do it. So hopefully, maybe I'll bring in occults into that game because I feel like that could add some gameplay stuff. And it takes me a while, though, to decide here that it's going to be a park. Right now, I am just building. And you'll see the point where I decide that this is about to become an actual park instead of just a tiny home residential. But yeah, so tons of windows, and I also wanted this to be a space where you could do more than just come and hang out with some plants. So I'm actually going to make this a very skill-heavy area, and it's going to be heavily landscaped. So I'm taking a lot of things from debug. I'm taking a lot of things from all of the, all the plants, and just trying to make it as cute as possible. And I don't recommend this, and I really regret that I made the drop so steep that things were either up in the air or down at the bottom of a lake. I should have made the grade of the slope a lot more shallow. I do regret that in this. So here I am adding some steps and trying to decide on how wide it'll be because I have, that there, and I decide that I don't want my steps going all the way across. And you can see I'm struggling with the slope there. You can see it. And it will happen about 1,000 times in this video that I am struggling with where to place plants and how to place rocks, and in general just, hanging out, doing stuff. Here I am doing the outside, and I never use this red wood. I always go dark or really light, but it matches that bridge there, so I wanted to take a chance. And here I am wondering again about this freaking fern. and so here you'll see my problem that I was talking to you about. It's either underwater or floating in the air. And that will be the theme of this video, underwater or in the air. A story of me trying to put plants places. And I start out first with just trying to fill in some of this green space with bushes and a little about these crawling plants. And you'll see on the one side, on the left side of the screen, it's a lot steeper than the right side. So the right side looks kind of really flooded, like rain just happened or something. And I desperately wanted to change that, but if you do water fixtures or whatever in these builds, what you do to one happens to another. So I either can have the water where I want it on the right side, or I can have the water where I want it on the left side. And I go back and forth in this video whether I want the one side to look good or the other side to look good. So, and I'm also trying to keep these plants off the path that I made because it's only one tile wide at any given point, and I want my Sims to be able to move freely from one side of the lot to the other. Yeah, so we're adding rocks. This is, a super heavily done, and I really find that a zen in doing landscaping in The Sims. It's one of my favorite things to do. Um, I build a lot, and the whole point of my channel was to learn how to build in The Sims. I have been playing Sims since 2000. I had never built anything before I started my Twitch and YouTube journey. So the extremely end of October, and beginning of November was when I started all this. And I had never built anything, and I had never played The Sims in any way besides like family gameplay, which I still haven't done that. I'm getting to it, and I have never killed a Sim. I've never killed a Sim. No, that's wrong. I killed one Sim once back in, and it was accidental. It was an accidental death. Back in, gosh, I'm gonna say 2003, and then I promptly quit the game because I accidentally saved. I panicked and I saved and I left. Like, I was clicking out, and you know how muscle memory, you just kind of click out and then you just click save and exit? Oh my gosh, and I did that. And I had invested so much time and so much effort into this one Sim, and I quit, and then I didn't play for years. I was so traumatized. I know, it's ridiculous. I get very invested in my storytelling, and oh man, that was hard. So I didn't play for years, and I think at that point, was it Sims 2? Let's see. When did all the Sims? I think that was Sims 2. That was not Sims 1. When did the Sims games come out? And Sims 2 came out in 2004. So yeah, it must have been 2004, not 2003. I was thinking I was getting that wrong. So yeah, 2004 was the last time I killed a Sim. My gameplay is always super family, and they just have a bunch of kids and they take care of the kids, and nobody ever dies and nobody ages. So yeah, that was so traumatizing. I'm a big baby too. Anyway, back to the back to our build. I am still filling out the green space, and this is where I decide that it's going to be a sculpture park with a bunch of shrines and the prayer, oh gosh, prayer papers. And I start putting in little shrines and little stone sculptures just so I can, just fill out the world a little bit. I don't know that this rock will stay. I know sometimes if I put in something on the edge, it will stay. Sometimes it will not. So this is me trying my best. All we can do is try, right? And I'm going to fiddle around with the stuff in the back a lot just because I want, one, for it to be an excellent, straightforward picture here. And also I want to add more stuff, and since everything's taken up with several lakes, it's a little hard. And I'm putting flowers for the shrines. I was going to add like a graveyard, but I felt that it wasn't big enough to be a cemetery. And they have like the urns, and they have the onyx headstones, but okay, so here's where I'm struggling with the water. This is where I am struggling with the water, because it keeps editing the other side, and I just, I feel like that Kevin Sorbo gif where he's like screaming at the sky as Hercules just going, disappointed. Not that we like Kevin Sorbo anymore, but I often think of myself as that clip just in my everyday life. That and the mom that's in the car with the autistic child where she turns back and screams at him like, why can't you be normal? I also think of myself as that meme. I am debating this log and I'm still am not happy with why I put it there. One, I just wanted it to look like it had washed up. And I also wanted to hide the seams of the water. You can see here is where I am struggling to get the fern to even place. I decide I don't want the look of wildflowers, and there we get a bush. And you can see anytime I get too close to the building, it's a riot and a half. I struggle with that for this whole video. So hopefully I have sped it up enough where you guys will also know my pain, but not have to live in it the way I did. So just putting a couple of debug items, I believe, here. Yes, and where I don't feel like Japanese gardens are often overgrown, you can see I'm trying my best. Still struggling with that log. But I decide to go with it just because we're going to have a very structured inner garden area. And I really was enjoying placing all of these shrubs. I cannot keep not one thing alive in real life besides my children and my cats. And I always say it's because they can meow at me and yell at me and tell me they're hungry. My one cat, his name is Remy, and he leads me to the cat dish if he feels like it needs to be, filled up a little bit more. So and when I was pregnant, he also figured out, because I was pregnant with twins, I have twin girls, and he knew that I couldn't bend over because one, I was violently ill my whole pregnancy, but he knew I couldn't bend over, so the cats developed a system where they would follow me, and I left chairs and little and TV trays and things along the path in our super tiny condo we had at this time. And they would get up on things so I could pet them. And that has not stopped to this day. They still do that. Whenever I am in a room, they instantly go to the highest point and are like, hi, remember me? Pet me. And they have also taught the kittens that we have gotten in the 11 years since my children have been born. They have taught the kittens that have come into our lives to do the same thing, which just makes me laugh. Because I remember Remy jumping up on a TV tray and looking down at these little kittens and then looking up at me and then jumping down and then showing them and jumping back up. Jumping down, jumping back up, jumping down, jumping back up. We have a little pause right here because I have a friend who is having a little bit of a tough time, and she calls me right then, and I just make sure that it was not an emergency. So I am back to this steep grade. So you can really see it here, that it's just a complete drop to the bottom of the screen. So I have to pile up these rocks so it looks natural, or make them bigger, which I also do. And since Mount Kimurabi is see, look at this. Since Mount Kimarabi is so rocky, I decided that if I were doing if I were doing a green space, that it was going to have a lot of rocks. So here I am just placing a bunch of greenery just to hide the seams of everything because it's not really, realistic. The one thing I do forget to do because I do this out of order is I normally put like dirt around it, follow all the lines with dirt, and I forget to do that in this. It's was just kind of one of those, I was running out of time because I had to go pick up the kids and I wanted to finish this build because LilSimsie is doing her video on Twitch showing them off on Thursday, and I knew I was going to have to do this voiceover, and it was, just lots of things on my mind because her stuff only goes up and normally you get like maybe a couple days to do it. So I wanted to get this done, and I love this. If I could get that bridge to have been, workable, I would have just used the bridge, but you know how it goes. Here I am trying to fix the grade of some stuff, trying to decide on if I like it, and I decide that I do not because I don't like the hard square edges. So more greenery, and I just love seeing this take shape. Like, I really, really do. Yeah, so more big rocks here to take up more of the space, and just putting some color in the gardens, hiding the edges of things. Maybe it's okay that I didn't put the brown soil, like, kind of edging, because I kind of have a lot of it with the with the edges of the water and the plants. So, and maybe people wouldn't have even noticed if I hadn't mentioned it. So maybe that's just a me thing. And I still here in even this far into the build. So we are almost halfway done with the build right now. I still had not decided this was a park. So, once you decide what kind of lot you're making, you will have things that you have to put. And I wish I had decided that before I do this. But, you live, you learn. Now I'm filling in underneath the building, around the building, just with some greenery, because I didn't really want to see the stilts, and I still wanted, I just still wanted stuff going on here. Yeah, and I love debug. I love finding just like random things to add into your builds that you see in the background, but you don't ever decide to use. I've only done debug with a few of my builds. I used to think it was cheating, but the access you have to world items just is unparalleled. And here I am trying to decide if I'm going to use the little log to hide more seams, or what I'm going to do there. And I'm stressing because I can't get any bushes closer to the build, so I end up putting rocks. That's what we do. If you want to hide some stuff, rocks and plants apparently is the way to go. Here I am with the same problem. I'm just putting a few rocks. Yeah, it's really funny watching it with almost double speed, since I'm just watching things jump from like up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. So I love arboreums and gardens and all sorts of these things in real life. And I've been to Japanese gardens several times, and they're always just so beautiful, so well cultivated. But I always picture like a very well groomed area. This is a little bit more wild than I think I would expect for a Japanese garden, but not so bizarre that, I couldn't see it, happening in real life. Here is where I'm deciding what more needs to be done. And we're back to rocks and plants, plants and rocks. I am going for more debug, and I am I back to Snowy Escape, trying to decide what I want to do here. Oh yes, I'm putting in more shrines now. I'm trying to decide what to do with these little places in the back. So I knew that there was a shrine, like an old shrine, so I wanted to put it back here somewhere, because I'm deciding that this was built here because of that. So now I decide, okay, so if this greenhouse and green space is built around here because of this old shrine, what more would they put here to encourage people? So this is when I start saying, okay, we're gonna put monkeys here. Like, we're gonna put more statues, and this is when it becomes a sculpture garden. And so I start putting actual sculptures here. So, and then you can see I'm looking at the graves and deciding against that. And now I'm like, okay, you are done on the outside. But I know that it's not, because I'm thinking to myself, what are they going to be able to do here? Like, you can't just come here and be like, oh, this is really nice. So, yep. So now I'm placing down, just places for people to sit. And then that's when I get the idea that, oh, this needs to be a park. And I was like, what are they going to do in this space? And now I put in the hot springs. I wish, this is the thing that really made me wish that I had decided what this lot was going to be beforehand. Because now I feel like it looks like an afterthought. So I'm spinning the map, because I'm like, do I hate it? Do I love it? Do I hate it? Do I love it? You're not going to be able to get over that one bridge anyway, so does it matter that it's just leading to one of these small little sculptures there? Yeah. And then I was like, okay, we need outside things to do. So let's get, let's get a woohoo bush. This is where I am slowly deciding that I have made a mistake. So more than halfway through the video, I realize I have made a mistake. Because what are people going to do here? And now I know that it's not residential. So I put in the heart woohoo bush just because that one's my favorite. There's no difference between like all 5 woohoo bushes. And yep, here's the bonsai that I'm putting out there underneath the tree next to the temple, or am I going to put it over there next to the bench? And then I go back to the tree here. And am trying to decide where that looks best. And I still have not decided that it's going to be a park yet. So I decide and go into panic mode. Here's where I'm going into panic mode. And I was like, there's nothing for people to do here, because if I just put plants on the inside for this greenhouse, all they're going to be able to do is hang out with one bonsai tree and go into the hot springs. So I am rethinking my whole life at this point, and yeah, I'm rethinking my whole life, and I'm still stressing about this hot springs. Like, does it look good? Does it not look good? Do I hate it? Do I not hate it? What do I add in the back here? So I'm moving that, and I think to myself, okay, I am going to I'm going to put something back here for someone to do. It's going to be a chessboard because this seems like this would be a really nice place. And here's where we decide it's going to be a park. Oh, no. Here's a community space. And here's where I panic because I think it's going to clear my lot. And it doesn't, but the heart attack I have was real. So here I save. And I go and change it to a park. And now I have things I need to check off. And I feel this burning sense of annoyance with myself that why didn't I think of this before? And then I kind of chuckle to myself because the woohoo bush counts as a toilet, and I giggle. So now I'm going to really, really start to panic through this and really get myself into gear. So I have a couple of places where they can sit. I have a chessboard now where they can play along this bamboo fence. I realize that there's going to need to be a bathroom. So I go in here and make my little bathroom there and do the walls. And I think there's lots of spinning. I know there's been lots of rotating here on out, or before, but from here on out, it's like every 10 seconds I am rotating this board. Because I can't see through that wooden entrance, so I have to really, really get this going. And I'm trying to decide if I don't want a counter because it won't count as a table, but I can't put the sink on this table, even though I want to. So I go back and I look for another table. This doesn't count as a table, I realize, and I hate it anyway. This is a table, but I obviously can't put that on it. I checked just in case, but I knew it wasn't going to. Then I decide that I'm going to go with one of these, but not this one, not this one. I debate it, but I don't love it. Do I love this one? I like it a little better than the other ones, but still am not truly enamored with it. And it's hard when, packs don't come with everything that you'd like to do, that matches. But I decide here that I am going to get one that just sticks out from the wall and put a bunch of plants underneath it. So now I need to find the perfect height of plant. So I find that one off the bat and I think to myself, this is going to be so easy. This is going to be so easy. And I'm not one of those people who is super familiar with everything. Or remember that, this is this height and this plant is this height. So I am going to struggle here. You will see, do I want this underneath so it looks like it's part of the so it looks like it's part of the sink. And I fiddle with this for a while before deciding that no, I hate it and I don't think the Sims will be able to use it. But I realize I do like the busyness underneath the sink. So here I am trying out 1,000 different plants to decide how I want to do this. And I could make some of them smaller, but sometimes they cast shadows and whatnot, so I don't immediately. I just decide I'm just going to go with what they already have. And here I am deciding what sort of plants I'm going to add into the area and where, because I'm pretty much done with the outside for the most part. I think I only go back and do a couple more things. So now we are fully into the greenhouse. And you can't just have plants in here. I do know that. So I was like, okay, we're going to need an activity in here. Like, what would I want to do at, in this beautiful green space? I would want to paint it. So I set up that, and I start to, clutter it all up with the artist studio stuff. I decide, okay, so we're going to put some plants on there and put some things to paint, just like you're looking for it. And I'm trying to decide on how much they would have here, because it's not like a painting studio per se. It's just somebody bringing some paints in and painting this beautiful area that they can see. And I'm trying to fill up this table in a nice way. And I'm rotating things. I'm putting them in the wrong spots, because I always start out with putting them in the wrong spots. Always, always, always. It never fails. And this will not be the only time I mess with this. I will immediately come back at the end and completely fix it again. It will just be bananas. So I am actually, and I realize I need a piece of equipment, and I didn't think to make this smaller, but I just put rocks over it. So I do have my own shell challenge out that just came out today, the 25th. It is a platform shell challenge, and it will... So check that out. My gallery name is SeeJamieSim, and you can download it from the gallery, and it has a ton of platforms to mess with. So the only rules are you can't touch the outside walls, but you can put whatever else you like for decorations. No custom content, but half walls, all that, totally allowed, just like this shell challenge. Do whatever you want, whatever it inspires you to do. But yeah, definitely check that out. And I would love to see what you come up with. I'm going to be doing a feature video on April 2nd with whatever else people, with what people do. So I'm super excited to see all these talented simmers, maybe try out my challenge, just like I tried out LilSimsie's. And here's where I make all of the tiny lights. There's little babies. They just look like specks. And whenever just a reminder there, you cannot change windows or mirrors. It messes up the game. But yeah, so I have my shell challenge coming out. So definitely check that out. And if you decide to do the challenge, just upload it and put the hashtag platform shell challenge and SeeJamieSim, just so I can see it and find it and feature it. Here's where I am doing the outside of the roof and this other space that's going to have some greenery in it. I'm fixing the walls just so it looks a little bit more natural. But yeah, so I'm super excited about my first shell challenge. I'm always excited about new things. I struggle with these windows because I'm thinking to myself, well, how far would it realistically go? It wouldn't go into the roof, so you wouldn't use a whole bunch of panes of glass just to cover up a roof. So. And still struggling with what I want to do for the trim. And there we go. There we go. Way to go, Jamie. And I realized that I hate that little white spot, so I gotta fix that. Let's see. And yep, just gonna fix a couple other things on this roof trim just so it looks natural and not like there's a bunch of gray space. I put some roof decorations from, oh gosh, why can I not remember what it's called? Where are those? It's, yeah. It's one of the newer ones. I know we've already moved on and I'm doing the green space, but it's going to drive me crazy. For Rent. It's from For Rent. So I'm putting some bushes up here. How they tend to them, and that was me making sure that you couldn't see anything down below. Yeah, how they tend to these, no clue. None. I mean, do they get like ladders and they're up here like trimming these hedges? No clue. None. But I really wanted some greenery up here, and I wanted greenery also that you could see and would, make sense, I guess. I also had thought of putting some here's some bamboo. I thought of putting some like solar panels up here, but the roof grade is so steep and it's curved in that it does not end up working. So here I am trying to decide where I'm going to put all of our inner plants. So in case you did not get enough plants on the outside, here we are putting them on the inside. So this is, so anyway, so we're putting up plants on the inside. I'm trying to make it an experience, so I'm going to put in some vending machines and just, make things a little bit different. And I never put vending machines in my builds, so I had no idea what to put in here or even what was in them. So I'm looking at all these vending machines trying to figure it out. Yeah, so from here on out, I am just going to put in the vending machines, places to sit, some more bonsai trees, and some planter boxes, just so your Sims could plant some plants on their own. But if you enjoy my builds, which I enjoy building, definitely check out my other videos here on the channel. I also stream on Twitch and YouTube Wednesdays from 9:30 to 1:30, Fridays 9:30 to 12:30, and then again from 5 to 8, Saturdays 5 to 8, and Sundays 2 to 5. So if you're ever wanting to check out just live stuff, I do a lot of Sims 4. I do some other kind of cozy games, sometimes sim games or simulation games. And I also do some crafts on there, like cross stitch and whatnot, just for chatting with people and just for a little different flavor on some of my streams. Excuse me. So if you ever kind of feel like you want to go check that out, definitely please do. I'd love to have you. And I upload here on YouTube every Tuesday and Thursday. So you can always check out my other series. I have my 100 Days of Cast Challenge that I upload frequently. I believe we are going to be on day 13. So 13 uploads so far of me making different cast characters, which has just been super fun and love it. Love it, love it, love it. And so just really enjoying my journey here, and I hope that you guys are enjoying it also. We have so now here I'm trying to find some hanging plants or something for the walls, because I definitely did not want to I definitely did not want to miss, more of this stuff, and trying to decide like what they would have, what they wouldn't have. I'm not trying to make it as wild as it was outside. I just want some points of interest, just because this build is pretty simplistic for all the stuff that we added. And I'm trying to decide on some different sorts of plants that we would have, or what I should put in here. And I'm also trying to match it, so you can see I go outside and I'm like, does this match? Like, is it this? So I think I kind of agonize over this corner of my build probably more than I agonize over the corner of any of this map for the full area. Yeah, I decided I'm going to put more bamboo in, since I hadn't put a lot of bamboo into my build. And this is actually a divider, but I decided to keep it because I like it, and just put this other little bamboo guy to replace the stand with the kind of growing bushes. But I really want to thank you guys for joining me today for me building LilSimsie's mouse tiny shell challenge. I appreciate you coming and checking out the channel. If you do enjoy your time here, please like, comment, and subscribe. That helps me a whole lot. And I'd love to find out what you'd like to see, what you'd like to do. We should be starting our Ultimate Decades Challenge here soon, which I am super excited about. Nervous because I have never killed any of my Sims, except for the one time when it was an accident. So that's a heavy death game. But I do want to thank you guys for checking me out again. And hopefully you enjoy our beautiful, it's under Mouse and Monkey Park in the gallery. So